Welcome back to Leeds Lately. Today's video is going to be my all-time Leeds United 11. So before we actually go into the 11, a few little things that we're going to set out to start with. There's going to be some loose rules around it playing like an actual team. So first of all, I'm going to pick the manager and the formation. So it's going to be Bielsa. Obviously there's going to be a bias from the time that I've spent watching Leeds. I'm 23, so I was never there for the Don Revie era. I was never there for the Howard Wilkinson era. I was never there for David O'Leary. I would pick Bielsa anyway, I think, just based on the style of football. Granted, he's only been here 3 years, but for the actual style of football and the way we play, which is why I'm also going to pick 4-1-4-1 as the formation, as that's Bielsa's most preferred formation. I know that in and out of possession it can change and it can be quite fluid, but starting up we're going to have 4-1-4-1, so goalkeeper, back four, holding midfielder, midfield two with the left and right midfielder, and a striker. To also make this fair, the team from the 70s that won everything, I can't just do a full team of them because they won everything. So it's going to have to include some players from right now, some players from the early 2000s, from the 90s and from the 70s as well. So it's going to be a bit of a mixture. Otherwise I would have had more of the 70s team. But then as well, I haven't watched them. I wasn't alive. So like, it would be wrong of me to pick loads of them on that basis. So let's get into the actual team then. First in goal we've got Nigel Martyn. Now Nigel Martyn obviously played about 20 years ago really. He was a great goalkeeper, brilliant shot stopper. Nowadays, would he be great with his feet? Probably not, and there will be some holes that you can pick in this team based on me saying that it's going to have to play in Bielsa's style, but just go with me on this. Nigel Martyn, great shot stopper, and I've seen and heard interviews with him since, and he seems like an alright bloke as well. So yeah, Nigel Martyn's going to be the goalkeeper. At right back, one from the current crop, Luke Ayling. So I'll have a look through the history of Leeds United players, and Luke Ayling, he's one of them where, because we're living it now and we know more about him because of social media and stuff like that, he just seems like a cracking bloke. He seems like a good laugh. He's a class clown, and he's a brilliant footballer as well. And his journey and his story from leaving the Arsenal academy and going as low as League Two, to then come back up and finally make it back to the Premier League and look like a solid, good Premier League player whilst doing that. It's a great story, isn't it? And he's got to go in there at right back. Plus, we know he plays well in that Bielsa system. The next one, Lucas Radebe. Now, Lucas Radebe, the chief, he signed as sort of a bonus with another player from Kaiser Chiefs, and in South Africa that is. And he not much was expected of him, to be honest. It was Phil Masinga, was it, that was signed with him? And Phil Masinga was the main player for this signing, and Lucas Radebe was almost like, have this one with him included in the deal. But Lucas Radebe turned out to be one of the best central defenders that this club has ever seen. He was a natural born leader, great footballer, and he's going to go in there at centre back because he's an absolute leader, a leader of men, and he's got to get a position in my team for me. The other centre back is going to have to be Jackie Charlton. Over 700 appearances for the club. It's unheard of nowadays. You wouldn't get that many appearances. He played for so many years. Brilliant with his right foot and left foot, so that's why I've put him at that left centre back position. And he was a stalwart of the club. He played for us, like I say, for over 700 times. So real legend of the club, and he has to be in there. Left back is one that I had a little bit more contention over. You could have picked Trevor Cherry. You could have picked what's his face, Ian Hart, for his brilliant free kicks and his excitement in that sense. But For this team, I've gone for Tony DiRigo. I've gone for Tony DiRigo because of the type of player he was. He was a bit more of like a flying fullback up and down the pitch, almost playing as a left winger at times. And from the current crop of Leeds players, although we love Alioski for how funny he is, he's not on the level of someone like Tony DiRigo, who could defend and could attack fantastically. So Tony DiRigo is going in at left back. Calvin Phillips is going in that holding midfield role. This one, another one, you could have picked people like David Batty in there. But I've gone for Calvin Phillips because he come through the academy, he's Leeds born and bred, and he is essential to this Bielsa system. And this Bielsa system is based, well, not based around him, but for the Leeds team, it really just works with him in it. He's fantastic in that role. And he's gone on to England at the moment. Obviously, the Euros are on. And he's been England's player of the tournament so far. He's been absolutely unreal. I don't even think I thought he was going to be this good at the Euros. And God knows what he could go on to become, because he's 25, but 7 years' time, when he's 32 and he's coming towards the end of his career, I think he can have achieved some amazing things. So Calvin Phillips goes in there for me as well. That living it at the moment bias, it's more fresh in the memory. So yeah, it's going to have to be Calvin Phillips in there for me. At right midfield is another one that would be considered probably very contentious, because it's Rafinha. Now, the reason that I've gone for Rafinha in that position is he's the player, I think, that has made us feel like, yeah, we're back. We've signed someone this last year that is, I'm going to say mercurial talent. I did get a comment about that actually, saying that that's actually for when somebody's a bit hot and cold. He's not a mercurial talent. He's consistently fantastic. And he's one of those where you've signed somebody who's a real superstar, and at a snip really for how good he's been. £17 million from Rennes last summer. Rafinha's been absolutely excellent, and like I say, he's a microcosm of our return to the Premier League. He's been involved in everything that's good, and he's exciting, he's young, he's Brazilian, he's got that flair, and he's got ability to back that up as well. So Rafinha goes in there for me just for the sheer feeling he gives you when he's on the ball, and I cannot wait to get back in Elland Road and see him in the flesh. That right centre midfield spot, for me, it's got to be Pablo Hernandez. I know it's another recent bias. You've got players like Billy Bremner's missed out on this team, I'll tell you that now. Billy Bremner's missed out. It's just that recent memory bias that I've never seen Billy Bremner play because I wasn't old enough. I wasn't born. So it's one of those where Billy Bremner gets on the bench for me, and I can't believe I'm saying that. There's a statue of him outside the ground, but just for this team, I'm like I said, I'm including old and new. And for me, Pablo, it's that season before last, the season that we got promoted, everything that he did for us, he was unbelievable in that last running of games. He was always popping up with an assist or a goal, and he would come on, do something amazing, and then come off again. So for me, Pablo Hernandez got to get in there just for the feeling, even just for that Swansea goal, just for that moment where it falls to him in the box, and he put it in the only position it could possibly go in, off the post and in through a box of crowded players after Ayling had ran all the way down the pitch. And that feeling was unbelievable, and that was where you really believed we were going back to the big time. So yeah, Pablo Hernandez in there for me. Gary Speed. Now Gary Speed is another one of those that he played for Leeds for a very long time, big chunk of time in the 90s, and he really summed up Leeds United. He was a real leader of men, a real passionate player, and he had skill to back it up as well. Terrible stuff that happened to him, and obviously eventually he ended up taking his own life. But it's tragic as it is. He was a fantastic player, and he'll be sorely missed by everyone around him. I've heard Alan Shearer and other people talk about what a nice bloke he was, and yeah, it's a real tragedy what happened to him in the end. Now onto the left wing. It's going to be Albert Johannesson. Now, some of you may not have heard of Albert Johannesson. He signed for Leeds in 1961 and played for Leeds until 1970. He was a South African player, and he was really the first black player to be a big superstar name in the top flight in the old First Division. And he was the first black player to play in an FA Cup final. And really, he's in here for his contribution to football, paving the way for other players like Lucas Radebe, Rio Ferdinand, Rod Wallace, Rafinha, Tony Yeboah, players like that who've all come through. And there always had to be a first black player to make it big in the top flight, and to really show that there is no difference between black and white, and that it doesn't matter what colour your skin is, you can do the same things as everybody else. And he really showed that it really does not matter the colour of your skin. You can entertain people with your football if you're good enough. And apparently he was a very skillful player as well. He was very quick, very exciting, and yeah, he's almost in here for his bravery and his contribution to Leeds United. He used to go up and play and have monkey chants at him every week, people throwing bananas on the pitch and stuff, but he was so brave enough to play for Leeds United and to go out there every week and do his best and be exciting and skillful. And so that's really why he's got in this team. Later in his life, he had problems with alcohol, and he did have a lot of problems in his life. But we'll choose to remember him for the things that he did do good, and how fantastic he was as a footballer and as a bloke. The bravery that he showed. The last one is going to be our striker, and that is going to be Tony Yeboah. So Tony Yeboah, as much as I've said this team needs to work in a Bielsa system, I don't know if Tony Yeboah would be willing to do the kind of running that someone like Patrick Bamford has to do in this system. But I almost had to forget that for a second just to appreciate his goals against Liverpool and against Wimbledon. I mean, you see them all the time still, and they were in the mid-90s. So that just shows how absolutely fantastic they were. A couple of volleys, unbelievable. And it wasn't just those two. He scored consistently unbelievable goals throughout his career, whether that be in Germany with Frankfurt or in England with Leeds. He was a fantastic player, unbelievable to watch. Obviously, this is based on people who have told me this, who have watched him, because, like I say, I think I was born in 97, so I know I was born in 97. I meant, like, I think that he played before I was born mostly, and so I never got to see him play, but obviously I've seen some of the goals he scored, and he was absolutely unbelievable, and real exciting goal scorer to watch. So that's why Tony Yeboah is in there. Now, I mentioned that people like Billy Bremner have missed out. The other ones that were pretty close, I've written down 5 names that were quite close. So there's Bremner, Rio Ferdinand, and I know he went on to be a scum player, but he was unbelievable, and there's no denying that. He was a great centre-back, a Rolls Royce of a centre-back. Mark Viduka, who missed out because there's no way he would have done the run-in that Patrick Bamford does, so that's why he's missed out, but he was an unbelievable finisher. Gordon Strachan as well, unbelievable. Rod Wallace, the goal that Rod Wallace scored that was the total Messi-esque goal. If you haven't seen that goal, go on YouTube and search Rod Wallace wonder goal, and he just runs through a whole team and scores. It's unbelievable stuff. So yeah, those are just a few of the players that have missed out. Obviously, I can't mention everyone, as mentioned other people throughout this video, but yeah, that's my all-time Leeds 11. Comment down below if you disagree, which you probably will, and you probably hate me for this. Comment down below if you've got any disagreements, or you agree, or you've got anything else to add. But yeah, from me, that's it for this one. I'm going to probably do a reaction to the England-Germany game in the round of 16, so that's probably the next video you'll see. Thanks for watching. See you next time.